co-chair a couple of all-party parliamentary groups, one of which is on skills, careers and employment. There's been lots of conversations with ministers and small business bodies about how can we get an apprenticeship system that's going to work for SMEs, because we know that they don't have the time, the energy, the resources, the big HR departments to deal with that. And again, if I'm going to give opportunities to young people, in particular in my area, I have to have those jobs and opportunities with SMEs, because they're so important to my local economy. So I'm trying to sort of think about this in a very joined up way and being an advocate for SMEs. So I'm really pleased to be able to chair this roundtable and to hopefully have a really constructive conversation with you all, and have my thinking further developed by what you tell me, and I can go away and nobble those ministers or whoever I need to kind of just help get your message across. Employer NIC's increase, it's a reality I just have to acknowledge. I wouldn't like to have done it, but it has been implemented now. It was unfortunately something we had to deal with because of the economic legacy. You know, I do have concerns about the impact in terms of people not recruiting, businesses not investing in the way that they would have. But you know, I'm pragmatic about it. It's here. So how can we mitigate the effects by, in other ways, creating a more supportive environment for small businesses? And so I'm very keen to hear your experiences on that. You know, in terms of the I guess the challenges that it's posed for your businesses, and also the other things that you think that the Labour government should be doing to create a more I guess a more supportive environment for small businesses. As you want, you know, you can be critical of the government. I'm not going to be funny about that at all. You can, you know, do speak openly, because that's where we get the most value from these kind of discussions, I think, as well. We do want to be supportive of business. I think it was a really big change, a really big positive change, and one of the reasons that I wanted to stand for Parliament, maybe in a Keir Starmer government rather than a Jeremy Corbyn government, was that recognition from the Prime Minister down that we can't rebuild this country without the support of businesses, that you are going to be driving economic growth, we have to work with you. You know, we had a little bit some attitudes about, you know, business is a bit the enemy, and it's not where we need it to be, and we're in a much better place now, although things obviously aren't perfect, but you know, we want to be working with businesses and trying to change the country with you. I'm always saying to ministers, the South East is not homogenous. Structure gaps. I was a big supporter of Lower Thames Crossing project, and I'm really hoping that is. Well, I'm certainly doing everything I can to make sure that that's going to deliver a lot of opportunities in my area. I've got over 200 companies who are registered in that supply chain, and I'm constantly banging the drum for making sure that local areas like mine are going to benefit from that in the South East. Those kind of projects are really transformational, and we need to get back to being a country, I think we will under this government, that can manage those big infrastructure projects, because they're so important for growth and jobs and opportunities. As I mentioned, the business support landscape is often confusing. That's a national issue, but obviously very prevalent in the South East as well. Also talks about a two-speed economy within the region, requiring tailored solutions. So I'll hand over to the SME4Labour team. I don't know who.
What I would say is with access to finance, I think, and I could talk a lot, so I won't. I'll keep it as brief as I can. Right? You know, this has been my area. But the reality is people talk about startups, they talk about growth businesses, but also there's the businesses which just grow 1 or 2% a year. I think across the whole of SME, if you can access finance, and there's two parts to that. One is actually application from the banks, and secondly, it's the security from the banks as well. So security is an issue, like personal guarantees versus charges over primary property. And I think that needs to be something which needs to be separated. Also, obviously, I've done a lot of work on this personal experience and spoke to lots of SMEs over a long period of time. The government have the government growth scheme, government growth guarantee scheme, which they promote, and basically banks are supposed to honour the government's request to give security to SMEs to get funding. Yeah. That doesn't work. Most of the people who get it don't actually need it. They're more medium-sized to large-sized businesses. Just from my experience of talking to SMEs, and I've done a lot of work with export champions, top companies, and everyone come to the same conclusion. Banks don't want to honour the securities what the government's offering, and they want to sell their own products across the board. That's one of the biggest things I've found, and I think without Because I was asked a question the other day and they said, well, how can the government help SMEs, which is not going to cost us any money?
Yeah, Business Wales will proactively say, I think this is something that will cover you, this is something in your area. They actually offer. The problem that our members have, and they always come back to us with in England, is the huge number of layers in tourism of different things. Like in Kent, you will have Rochester, visit Kent, visit South East. Then you've got Visit England, which is Visit Britain, but it might not be Visit Britain. And then you've got the British Tourist Board, and then you've got this, and then DCMS has its own thing. And we generally feel in tourism that we are overlooked as an industry, as a business. We represent around 11% of the workforce of the South East. It's a huge industry. But when the government's industrial strategy came out, there's no mention of our sector. There's mentions of lots of others, but we employ far more as a sector than any other, and they can't recognise it. We feel that our industry is we're also stuck in that issue that we are a business, tourism, the people who run the small businesses in our sector are very much businesses, but we're not part of the Department of Business with Johnny Reynolds is great for business, but why are all of the tourism businesses excluded from that? When you talk to I don't understand that they're hamstrung by the system. You talk to Department of Business and they'll say, okay, well, I'm really sorry, but we can't talk to you. You're DCMS. But DCMS isn't a business.
First started out, you look for all of these areas of support, what's out there, and then you kind of forget about it for a while if things are going well. And at different points in your journey, you probably need to be reminded about what's out there. And I think a simple way, it sounds like from what you were saying from others around the table, is that there's a lot out there, but there's a massive information gap in terms of if people want to find it, they can, but they're not being told. And it strikes me a simple thing that could happen is whenever you sign up, when you're at a company's house, you open a company, you get an email or an acknowledgement saying, look, these are all the things that are available in terms of local support, national support, access to finance, etc. And your local council can then input into that email. And then once every 12 months or something, they get a reminder in terms of what exactly is out there, and this is constantly being refreshed because there is there's that information gap definitely. So how can you address it? Maybe other better ways, but.
That's a really good suggestion because I know lots of people are looking at how Companies House can actually be used, but it needs support, doesn't it? And that's a really quite simple way because you could do it on a regional basis just based on addresses, couldn't you? Because I think it shouldn't necessarily be always the onus on the business to go out and find the support and find out what's available. Because when I talk to a lot of SME business owners, they're just trying to survive, and it's very difficult, isn't it, to sort of be able to take yourself out of that position and start thinking strategically about how am I going to grow my business in the next 5-10 years, because there are lots of cost of living pressures that are hitting you. So that's a really good suggestion. I'll take that away.
The HMRC already does that, actually.
Sorry?
The HMRC, they already do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, I mean, with AI and automation, you don't even have to have someone or a team behind it. You basically will pull the information based on your code of service and your local postcode to give you an idea of what you can
I have an API in this house. We built this just for fun. You can easily extract any new company that's registered with all the details and addresses. Which is why when you register a new company, you're probably going to get a few letters through the post with credit card offers and things that already happen. So it's super, super easy. So I'm a founder of an education company for 8 years and two tech startups based in America and based in the UK.
Okay, that's really good to know.